Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Picha Talks. And this is the 9th edition of Picha Talks this year, hosted by Picha Images. And we are happy and glad to have you with us. So with us today is Ms. Esther Mwende, who is an independent insurance agent with over 6 years experience in the industry. Ms. Mwende has been recognized by the Insurance Regulatory Authority in the annual event held by AKI, which is the Association of Kenya Insurers, as one of the top agents in the year 2015 and 2018. And we are honored to have her here with us today to share with us insights on insurance and investments that we can take up as creatives in the industry. Ms. Mwende, karibu sana, and it's an honor to have you here with us.
All right, thank you very much, Rich. I'm happy to be here and to give an insight on the Picha Talks today. Thank you.
Karibu. So if you're new to this platform, Picha Images is the host of Picha Talks, and Picha is a digital media company that helps creatives to grow their skills and their businesses by linking them up with different opportunities and knowledge skills in the industry. And every month we invite professionals from different fields to come with the community. To join the Picha community, you can log in on pichaimages.com where you will find further instructions on how to be a member. And you can also sign up on our newsletter to be receiving the monthly and bi-weekly newsletters with more information. So I'm going to dive right in. And before I do that, a few housekeeping rules. So kindly keep your microphone muted at all times. And as the talk progresses, we will have a Q&A session at the end. So note down your questions in the chat section, and we'll be able to address them with Ms. Mwende at the end. And as we continue, the talk is currently being streamed live on YouTube. So if you have any friends who did not register, you can let them know to catch it there. Great. So, Esther, what insurance cover options are available to creatives?
Okay, as a creative, you're in business. And I believe insurance is important to every business person in terms of security and peace of mind mostly. For creatives, I'd say, especially knowing the kind of work that you do, I know your gadgets are cheap, they're quite costly, and you will do anything to protect your investments, because I believe it's an investment. So you can, as a creative, the kind of insurance you need is fire and burglary and all risk, to sum it up.
And so there is fire and burglary, and there's also there's all one risk. For example, of general public liability.
Yes.
I'm sure that most creatives are not familiar with this type of insurances. So could you break down in detail what each one of them entails, starting with the all risk, fire, and burglary?
All right. Okay, so under all risk, it's all risk is like an umbrella of fire and burglary. So basically, the most important one is fire and burglary, but this one occurs for someone who has an office. Because if, like, let's say you have a company, it's situated in, let's say, Westlands, in the building that you're operating from, you can acquire, whether you have employees or not, you should acquire fire and burglary. Then under fire and burglary, we cover anything that can cause fire, whether it's electric shorts or any incident that may cause a fire to arise. Then there's burglary. So whether it's during the day or in the evening, or rather at night, your gadgets are insured, or rather your property is insured. So we cover all this. And then also now under all risk comes in when you take out your gadget. Let's say you've left your studio and you have to go for a shoot in a different location. So all risk covers that particular item from your studio, on the way, and at the shooting site. Now that's where all risk comes in.
Very well. And so actually, for some of you who are joining us, you might be wondering, on the poster we had Mr. Stephen Mwangi, who was supposed to take us through the talk. And so Stephen couldn't make it today, unfortunately, because he had to be in hospital. So Esther is standing in for him. And they had already communicated, so you will be receiving the same content, if not better. So rest at ease. So thank you, Esther, for the explanation for all risk. And then there is also the general public liability cover. What does this entail?
Okay, the general public liability cover covers a company that is dealing with photography, and just as a general creative, So if you have an event, let's say at the carnival, so you have taken your team and everything is set up, then someone may be at the event who is not your employee, who in terms of insurance, we term them as third party. So if someone maybe walks down either a light stand or the wires and then they get either injured, like maybe they fall on the wires and then maybe they get electrocuted, they can sue you. So this cover for the general public liability covers you as a creative from being sued by a third party, or rather by the general public.
That is interesting. I did not know that such a cover exists for creatives. I always thought that maybe it's only for motor vehicles and other businesses. So it's interesting.
No. Yes, in fact, it occurs for any professional, because whether you're a doctor, you can be sued by your client. Whether you're a lawyer, you can be sued by someone.
So I know that we're now going into the general election period, and a lot of creatives will be moving around to cover politics, and at the same time, you never know what happens with politics. Is there a cover that can protect creatives in such an instant, whether you're a photographer, a videographer, and you're out in the field, and say, for example, the crowd decides to ambush you and your equipment?
There are two scenarios here. So the cover that covers that is actually under a PVT, that is political violence and terrorism. So under this clause, it's an exception on a normal insurance cover. But if one wants to cover for it, you just add premium. It's like you top up a benefit. So what happens in such a case, as long as someone was not actively involved in a riot, if you're able to prove that you're not like rioting, because you might be recording, yes, but still maybe you are on the rioting side, maybe for political protest and such stuff. So for such a case, if you either lose your gadget in such a scenario or it's damaged, then it's not payable. But if you are not actively involved, like if you're able to prove that you are sent actually on an assignment to record such a maybe either news or a project to do with violence, then it is payable under the clause of PVT.
Okay, so you mentioned that the PVT is taken as an addition to, for example, the all risk.
Yes.
And is there a range like of figures that one could work with to understand exactly how much it is?
Okay, in terms of figures for like, let's say a PVT cover, the client is the one who decides up to what range they want to be covered. You can say at any given time you want to be covered, let's say 5 million in case of an incident. Then you'll be given a quotation based on that. You can say even up to 100 million, then you'll get a quotation based on that.
All right.
So it's the client who dictates on what, up to what extension.
Okay. So as a creative, I've heard that there's the domestic package or home package cover. Does this also cover one's gadget?
Under domestic package, this only mostly applies on creatives that do not have offices, because I understand most photographers operate as freelancers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, like maybe they're not employed, they are self-employed, so they don't have to pay for an office or anything. So they for lack of a better word, work from home. So you just stay at home, make your connections, look for a gig to go to. So when you get a gig is when you go for work. Okay. So if you want to cover your gadgets, you can cover them under domestic package. Domestic package is whereby you cover where you live. That is, whether you own the house, you can even cover the house, but mostly we cover the contents. So if let's say you're living in a rental house, so you don't have to cover the house because it's not yours. You don't have insurable interest. So if you're covering you can cover the contents. Then under the contents, it's classified under 3 categories. So there's fire and burglary, and then there's all risk. These 3 go hand in hand. So under the fire and burglary, this I would term it in layman's language, goods that cannot be moved around easily. That is maybe furniture, utensils, electronics like maybe a fridge. You don't go out with it every day. You don't carry your fridge or your microwave or your television to work or to any event. Those ones are covered mostly under fire and burglary. Now, all risk comes in when you want to cover things that you go out with mostly. So in this category, you'll find something like a phone, laptops, even something like a watch. If you have a ring, like maybe that is expensive jewelry. Since it goes out and it is easily either stolen, lost, or damaged, you can cover it under all risk. So if you're a freelancer, you can, and you don't have an office, you can use your domestic package to cover your gadgets.
Very well. So when it comes to insurance, what type of limits are there?
Limits in terms of coverage, or
in terms of, for example, there's a statement that I normally see.
Yeah.
In the insurance packages called the excess limit. What does that mean, and where does it apply?
Okay. The excess limit. I believe this is mostly understood by people who have motor insurance. This is how most people come to experience what excess means. So let me use an example of the motor insurance, then I'll go back to the gadgets in terms of excess. So you find that, let's say your car is worth 1 million bob. Then your excess is mostly it's between 2.5, 3%, depending on which company you settle for. So let's say the excess is, let's say 5,000. Sorry, 25,000 or 30,000. Let's say 30,000 is the excess limit. So it means in any case of a claim, and your claim is less than the excess, then it is not payable. Mm-hmm. So your claim should be more than your excess limit for you to be compensated. So let's say if you break a side mirror and the side mirror is, let's say 15,000, and your excess limit was 30,000. So this means the insurance will not replace the side mirror. So in terms of creatives as well, so there's a clause like if depending on how much gadgets you're covering, or rather the values. So let's say person A is covering goods worth 2 million. Then the other one is covering goods worth, let's say 500K. So the excesses will be different at this point. So there'll be the person that is paying maybe 500,000. The excess is, let's say 10,000. So it means if you have a claim of 10,000 and below, it is not payable. Your claim must be above the excess. Is that?
That is well understood, yes. I think you put it very well. So when it comes to the covers, are they geographically limited? And if so, when and for how long do they apply?
Okay. Depending again on which insurance company you settle for, Most companies in Kenya right now operate at least in Eastern Africa. Then if you take a cover, let's say as a creative, you take a cover and then you get a project to do, let's say in Namibia. So you must confirm first with your insurance in terms of before the inception of cover, if your cover is either worldwide or it is limited to a certain geographical area. So if you if they say it's only limited in Kenya or East Africa, you have to top up for you to get the worldwide cover.
Okay.
So
And when
it is
traveling,
not limited.
Mhm.
Sorry?
So when traveling,
Yes.
for example, do you need to
Yeah.
notify your insurance company in order to
Yes, you
activate the cover?
yes. So let's say for someone who's doing a project, let's say in South Africa or whichever country, even let's say out of Africa, let's say you've gone to any country in Asia, you have to notify your insurer that you'll be traveling from this and this date. Then at least if something happens, because this is very helpful in terms of a claim process, because you can go to another country and then lose your gadgets. And then when you come back, you come and tell your insurer, you've lost your gadgets at in a certain place, and then now you want it replaced. So first they'll ask for documentation, which you do not have. That is like maybe a police report from where you are. So such things, it is important is to notify your insurer.
Very well. I like how this is going so far, and the information and knowledge that you're sharing is quite informative. So perhaps someone might be wondering, when it comes to premiums, how much premium do you consider to be a fair amount to be sufficiently covered?
Premium, I think I'll go back to, it depends on what you're being covered. Okay. So let's say if I'm a freelancer and you have your own company. So you see the type of gadgets and the value of whatever I'm being covered for is totally different from what you as a rich and company are being covered for. So definitely my premiums will be lower compared to yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it is not
there's no one size
there's no price tag. Yes, there's no price tag on anything.
Okay.
Yes.
And so let's say I have taken up insurance, and this could be health insurance, all risk, or even motor insurance. What is the standard procedure for making a claim?
Standard procedure for making a claim.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say for insurance as a creative, let's say you've covered your gadgets, you've gone for an event, then there's a misfortune that has happened. So the first thing to do when you're claiming is first notify your insurer. By notifying your insurer, I mean contact your agent. You can either use an agent like a broker. An agent and a broker is the same thing. So if you don't have that, you can go direct to the company. Let's say you're using a certain insurance company and you don't have an agent. So you need to find a way to contact them and tell them you've had this loss, and they help you to process the claim. So after you've notified your insurer, either directly or through an agent, second thing to do is get a police abstract. A police abstract will also help the insurer to certify whether a certain event has occurred or not. Let's say if it is a domestic package you had and you had covered your the gadgets and everything. So, and you find that your house has been broken into. So first thing you do is call your agent, notify them, get a police abstract, And if need be, you can also take photos, because we need to see the evidence of a break-in. You can't say things were stolen, but then there's no evidence of forced entry, because I believe that burglary is forced entry to make a crime. So if there's no evidence again of forced entry, then it will be hard for you to explain to the insurer how people broke into your house and we can't see it.
Okay. And
Yes.
so once someone has made a claim and they have all the necessary requirements from photos, the abstract, how long does it take for someone to be compensated?
Okay, after you've someone has delivered all the documentation necessary, then they'll be given a claim form to fill. Then once the claim form has been submitted back to the insurer, now the insurer will do their own investigations. This can take, depending on the case. So it's case by case. There are cases which take at least 14 to 21 days to sort out. There are those which take between 60 and 90 days to sort out. So depending on the level of intensity, because maybe if there was burglary and then maybe someone got hurt and injured, see, the insurer will be working hand in hand with the police. So if you're working with the police to do all these things, then it becomes a little bit, it takes longer.
All right.
Yes.
That is good. That is good. I hope, guys, that you're getting new insights into what goes into getting insurance and everything that is needed. And we're looking forward to any questions that you have. Please drop them in the chat section so that Ms. Esther Mende can answer them at the end of this session. So, Esther.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure that there are a number of people watching this right now who have never taken insurance, and they're wondering, and they're thinking about how to go about it. Are there reputable insurance companies that you can recommend, and people that they can contact to get started?
Yeah. Yes, there is. For instance, I've worked with a few companies that I know are good in terms of claim payments, claim settlements, the process, in terms of giving you the best in terms of benefits, because there are some insurance companies, maybe like I said earlier, like maybe a company covers only Kenya. So why would you want a company that covers, is limiting you geographically, and you can go to an insurer that is enabling you to get a worldwide cover?
And which are some of these companies? If you're allowed to mention them.
Yes, I can mention but a few. I know UAP is good. I know IC Lion is good, and I know Jubilee is good as well.
Very good.
Yes.
And I know that beyond insurance, there's also investments. And most companies right now encourage you not only to insure your assets, but to also go further to invest them to gain interest, or rather grow them. What type of investment products do you have in the insurance industry?
Okay. In terms of investments, allow me to speak about what I have done personally. I have only worked with Jubilee in terms of investments. So about how other companies insure, I might not give good advice because I've not sold for them. So for the last 6 years, I've sold for Jubilee Life. That is in terms of investments. Investments can be in very different forms. It can be either personal savings or education policies, or money market funds, which again, Jubilee does not have. So if you're looking for lump sum investment, that is the money market, the companies offering such investments are there's CIC, Money Market Fund, and there's Sanlam and others. But for individuals, like now, let's say if you, for example, Rich, you want to do a project for either whether a long-term or a short-term project, now I'll recommend you to come to Jubilee. They have very good plans with very good returns. So in terms of investments, we have long-term and short-term, and also partial payments, partial payment plans. So for short-term plans, they run from 5 to 10 years. Long-term, that is 11 to 20. Then partial, let's say a 15-year plan. You can get 5 payouts or 3 payouts, depending on what you're looking for.
Okay. And what's
Yes.
the minimum amount that one needs to get started?
Now, personally, I don't work with what's the minimum amount to get started. Let me ask you a question, Rich. If
Yes.
I tell you, give me a projection of how much you want to save in the next 5 years, give me a rough figure.
So in the next 5 years, well, I can
yes.
break it down annually.
Yeah.
So in a year, I would like to save at least
Not what you'd
600,000.
like to save.
Yeah.
Not what you'd like to save, what you'd like to have.
To have in the next 5 years.
Whether, yes. Like, let's say you're doing a 15. You see, you didn't go for the minimum. So when you're asking about how much is the minimum premium for me to start, I will pose the same question to you. What is the minimum amount you would like to have? You see, there's no minimum. It all depends on how much you want, then you work backwards. So I like the way you started saying you want to break it down. Like, let's say annually, then say 600K. So 600K, work it backwards, like monthly, how much is that? Then someone will do a projection and say, depending on the number of years you want to save, then you get this much.
That is a great way to look at it.
Yes. And actually, the best reason actually why Jubilee does well in terms of life investments is if you're looking at investments, or rather savings, call it savings, why would you save with Jubilee and not in a fixed account in a bank? So let's work with an example of, let's say you want to save 5 million let's work with 2 million. 2 million in 5 years, okay? 2 million in 5 years, that is your goal, right? In the insurance term, we call it sum assured. So what we give you every year as interest, or rather bonus, we give you 5% of the 2 million every year.
5% of now that's a premium every year.
No, bonuses. Like, why are you saving with Jubilee? So we'll give you 5%, okay, of the 2 million. The 2 million you're looking to save, it is not yet what you've given us, okay? So we give you 5% of what you wanted to achieve every year for the number of years you want to save. I don't know if we have a banker in the house, they can confirm. If you want to save, let's say, if you're working
Okay, so we seem to have lost Esther there for a minute, but
10%. Yes.
We lost you there for a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, continue.
Where did you lose me?
After the 5%, 2 million.
Yes. So the bank, I was comparing saving in insurance versus saving in a bank. So saving in insurance has benefits because if you're saving let's say the 2 million in 5 years, let's work with the 5%. So we are giving you 5% of what you've not given us yet every year. That is the 2 million, okay, as bonuses. Compared to a bank, which is giving you a certain amount of interest. Let's say the best I think right now I can bet is between 7 and 8%. So they'll give you the 7% of what you have saved, not of what you're looking to save. You understand the difference?
Yes, I understand.
There's that. Yes. Then there's also the fact that when you save with the insurer, you have life insurance. That is, your life is covered, compared to a bank, which does not have life insurance. Yes.
And say
so many others.
sometimes someone may need to take out their money in case of an emergency. What's the minimum number of days it takes to do that? And are there any charges involved?
So now in terms of withdrawing your funds, now this is where people fight with insurance, because let's say, for example, I said I'm speaking for Jubilee. Let's say if you've taken a short-term plan for between 5 and 10 years, it means we have what we call cash value. So you cannot withdraw your funds for a minimum of 5 years. So if you're taking a 5-year plan, it means you can't back out. You have to finish the 5 years. So you can't, after maybe saving after 3 years, 4 years, maybe you want to withdraw the money for an emergency, you can't get it. So the best option is look for an alternative, or in this case, you can take up a loan against your own policy. That is allowed. Or you can maybe source for funds elsewhere, and then you can put your account on hold. Then you can come back to continue later. That is if maybe you're not able to pay the consecutive premiums. I can give a good example with the pandemic that hit us last year had. So many people, like maybe if you're saving, let's say 20 or 30,000 a month, and then maybe you lost your job, because many people lost their jobs last year due to COVID, and you're not able to remit this money. This does not mean you lose all your savings if you have been saving with us. So what this means is you just stop paying your remitting your premiums, and then you can come back at a later date. Like let's say if someone lost their job maybe in March 2020, and then they get a job this year, let's say even in December. So their policy has gaps all this time. So you have two options. You can either redate or reinstate. So reinstating means you bring your cover active by paying all those months that you skipped. But if you're not in a position to, you can just activate your cover, just the way you activate your NHIF. You pay for 3 months, then you continue. So you don't have to lose your money.
Excellent, excellent.
Yes.
This is a lot of information, and I am guessing that the audience would like to know, where can they get more of this? Is there a document that you can share with us?
Yes.
That we can share with them at the end of this presentation?
Okay.
And as well as, I'm sure most of them will want to contact you at the end of it, in case they have any questions.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of investments, they're very personalized. So what you can do, we have brochures, yes, but the brochures are very shallow in terms of information. There's a lot of information that is not in the brochure. You have to talk to someone. And that someone can be me or someone else. You can actually just walk in Jubilee offices, customer service. At least when you meet someone and talk to them, like maybe face-to-face or whether it's a virtual meeting, they'll be able to take you through what the brochure will not. But I'll definitely share the brochure afterwards. Then you can share it with them. Then also you can maybe share my contacts, normally based at a Capital Center, Mombasa Road. you can find me there, or Rich is gonna share my contact details. Then you can reach me either on email or on phone.
Excellent. Very well. I can see questions are streaming in here, hot and heavy. And Anne says, Esther, you're doing a fantastic job, so informative. And I can also see Ella says, wow, I am learning so much. So we'll go to the first set of questions.
Okay.
Are there specific packages geared for creatives for investment opportunities?
No.
Why is that?
Investment opportunities, they're not based on a profession, whether you're a creative, a teacher, whatever you are. Investment opportunities are personalized individually. The way, even if Rich, you had maybe a co-founder, your goals in life are totally different from their goals, like that. So it cannot be pinned to investments for creatives, no. But you as an individual, what do you want? Is it long-term, short-term, such stuff?
Very well. And so the other question, if you do not have a predetermined salary, what financial services can you recommend to someone?
If someone doesn't have
A predetermined salary, which is actually the case in most creative industries.
Okay. What I'd say about this, it's like business people. They can take, when they take up policies, depending on if you know your workflow. Let's say if you do a project in October, then you know you'll stay maybe a month or two without getting another project. Then you get another project in the next, like maybe the third month. What you can do, you can take up a savings plan that is flexible in terms of payment. And in terms of flexibility, I mean, depending on the level of income you get, you can decide to pay quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Like I know most business people, they don't like this monthly thing because they say business is good this month, business is not good this month. So what they normally do, they take either semi-annual policies or annual policies. So, you know, if you do a gig and you get, let's say, paid $500,000 or whichever amount, depending on the project that you're doing, you can just sign up a policy and say you want to be paying, let's say, 100K annually. 100K annually, if you break it down, it's only 8,200 monthly. But maybe you don't have that time and energy to pay 8,200 every month. So you can just maybe sign up to be paying 100K annually.
Okay.
Yes.
So insurance in general seems like an expensive affair. What other benefits can one accrue from it as a creative? For example, the way in medical insurance, one gets to get like free checkups.
Yeah.
Is there something similar on the insurance side for creatives?
Insurance is expensive when you don't have it. And it's even more expensive when a misfortune happens to you. For instance, for medical insurance, you might find that, let's say, for a year, as an individual, you're supposed to pay, let's say, 60,000, bare minimum. 60,000, if you break it down monthly, how much is that?
5,000.
5,000.
Yes.
So 5,000 monthly, someone says that's a lot of money, 60,000. Why would I pay 60,000 and I barely get sick? But the day you'll get sick, trust you me, the hospital will not come up to 60,000. It can even come to, let's say, $1 million bob or something. That is when you realize the importance of insurance. But that aside, I can say as a creative, the type of insurance you need to Like let's go back to when I was telling you, Rich, like your gadgets are not expensive. Sorry, they're not cheap. So if you lose that gadget, or if it's broken, and that gadget was, let's say, 200K, it will be very it will take you a longer time to save another 200,000 to replace it, other than for the premium, it will come maybe between 5 and 8,000 annually. So you'll rather lose the 8,000 if you don't claim, than when you lose again the gadget for 200K, and now you have to raise the 200K.
So back to the other question about the benefits.
Yes.
So are there specific benefits that one can get from insurance?
Specific benefits?
Yes.
It will be more profound, like specific benefits in terms of...
For example, say if you have a medical insurance,
Yes.
they can give you free medical checkups.
Mm-hmm.
So is there something similar for the creative community?
No, I wouldn't say there is, because even when you purchase a medical cover, you don't get a free checkup unless it's a corporate account, like maybe it's under employment. For individuals, if you want to go for a checkup, you have to pay for it.
Okay.
Unless it's organized by the insurer, by a certain hospital. Hospitals really organize for that, but through insurance. Like, let's say if I have connections with, let's say, maybe Mata Hospital or Nairobi Women's, I normally go and talk to them. I tell them I have clients at ABC place. I need you to come and do a health talk, stuff like that. So it is the hospital which agrees to do that. The insurer, unless it's a corporate or SME account, then for individuals, I don't think they're free checkups.
Okay. So say, I know that one major problem that creatives face out here is sometimes there are no proper structures or organizations.
Mm-hmm.
If most creatives were to come together as a group, can they be given an insurance package as a group as opposed to individuals?
For the gadgets and everything?
Yes.
Yes, they can. If you're working together, let's say you're 3 friends and you operate, like maybe one goes for a gig here and there. So you can actually, if one of you has a registered company, then you can take it up as a company. So that is a group. We term that as a group.
Okay, that is good to know. And
Yes.
I guess that also makes it more affordable when you break it down, spreading the premium.
Yes.
Great. Someone is asking, can I borrow a friend's camera, which is not insured, and insure it while I am using it?
I don't think it is possible, because in insurance, there's something we term as insurable interest. So you're borrowing it for commercial use, yes, but the person who should insure it really is the owner. Like I said, in domestic package, you can only, if you're a tenant, you can only insure your contents, not the house. The house does not belong to you. So you can't insure somebody else's camera.
Especially when it comes to travel, sometimes you get travel insurance that covers you for a short period of time.
Yes.
Is there something similar for the creative industry?
The creative industry, like
Yes.
in terms, you're asking if we can do fire and burglary, all risk for short term, let's say for a month.
For, yes.
No, these ones are for a year. It's like medical insurance. You can't take up medical insurance for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I know there's such covers for motor. I know motor insurance, you can take it, you can take motor insurance for a month. But for this, it's not applicable.
So do you think it is about time that the insurance industry started thinking about that? Especially since sometimes you'll find that people in the creative industry, they do not necessarily own the asset that they use to execute their work. So they will have to hire it or borrow it from someone.
Okay.
And in the event that it is not insured and something happens, then they find themselves in, they're liable.
Yeah.
So is this something that the insurance industry in Kenya can look into and perhaps come up with something to cater for it?
At the moment, what we have is like talk to whoever you're borrowing it from to insure it. Yes.
All right.
It might take a while for the insurance industry to take such measures, but in the meantime, we can work with what we have. That is, if you work for a certain company, then the company gives you gadgets, sends you to a project to do in, let's say, Kisumu. Then if the gadget is lost, that's upon you. You can actually advise your employer to actually insure the goods, and then it will be okay.
So Michael is asking.
Yes.
I guess this was mentioned before, but you can mention it again. Let's say I have purchased all risk domestic cover. How long does it usually take for the insurance to compensate my stolen equipment?
How long it takes to compensate the stolen equipment?
Yes.
It depends on how fast also you submit your documents to the insurer. Like this is the police report and everything to show that the gadget was stolen. Once you fill the form, normally takes give and take at least between 14 and 21 days, you should get a feedback from the insurer.
And Frank is asking about the short-term covers, which we just covered, either for a month or week. Then John Nancy is asking, is the identification 100% in case of a claim? I do not understand what that means exactly. John Nancy, if you could ask that question again, clearly. Frank asked, can a group of creatives gang up to take a group cover? That was just addressed. And Anne, I feel like this is a missed opportunity for the insurance companies and not. That's her opinion in terms of taking those covers.
Yeah.
Yes, so far this is flowing well, and I can see that we are right on time. So we'll be taking any last questions if you have them. And as usual, we are going to share Ms. Esther Mwende's email address and phone number so that you can reach. Very good. And there we have Miss Esther Mwende's contacts shared. You can always reach Picha Images online. Sign up on the website at pichaimages.com to be able to access first-hand information with anything that regards the creative community firsthand. Then you can also follow us on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. At the moment, we have open vacancies. So in case you're also interested in joining Picha as a team member, you can go to the career section on the website where you'll find more information about how to join Picha. And once again, we are really grateful, Ms. Mwende, for your time and expertise, and we do not take it for granted. We hope that we can stay in touch with you and even work on a proper workshop in future to get more people on board with the insurance and investment matters.
All right, thank you. Maybe I can answer Joe Nancy say they've posted the question again.
Yes.
They're saying, sorry, I meant is the indemnification 100% in terms of a claim? Yes, it is. So if your sum assured in this term being, let's say you're covering a gadget that is 100K, the compensation level is the same. You'll be compensated the current value market of that particular gadget. So if there's something like maybe based on valuation, like maybe it loses value as the years goes by. Like let's say you bought the gadget in 2015 and you're claiming it now. So we will look at the current value for that particular gadget. I hope that answers your question.
Fantastic. And last but not least, so there is a informative blog that was written by Esther Mende on insurance, where you can also get more information. I know some of you might have missed some parts at the beginning, but the good thing is we have this in recording and on the blog. So the blog has been posted in the link section below. On YouTube, it will also be posted in the chat section. So once again, thank you very much for attending Picha Talks. Sign up on pichaimages.com and for our newsletters in order to know the next event that is happening. Wishing you all a good day. Goodbye.
All right, thank you. Bye, Rich.
Thank you, Esther. Bye-bye.